But what I'm going to talk to you about today is the idea behind sustained weight loss and just how absolutely difficult it is. And this brings me into the subject I've been talking a lot about lately, which is the GLP-1 agonists. The peptides that you're hearing about in the brand name form are, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Ozempic, and the compounded versions that are popular are semaglutide, tirzepatide. Those are the generic names for those brand names, by the way. And if you go back and listen to my prior episodes about this topic, which I'll link in the show notes, you will hear me describe a different approach. And so many of you have been terrified into thinking that these were just deadly, terrible drugs. And while I do agree that they are being overutilized at too high of doses without any other comprehensive treatment plan in place, I disagree that they're dangerous. And I cover that in detail in prior episodes, so I won't belabor it here. But something that's very interesting to me is how many influencers out there who I otherwise thought were really intelligent just keep going on and on about it's all about dietary changes. It's all about, calories in, calories out, just eat less and move more. I mean, just the ignorance, I don't know if it's intentional or what. It's really reminding me of 2020. Like it's really reminding me of a few years ago. And it's very odd because what I'm seeing unfold is really, in my opinion, a lot of fatophobia. I am a firm believer in using a comprehensive treatment plan to help patients. That's the oath I took. I'm not a health influencer. I'm not a health coach. I took an oath to first do no harm, but more importantly, the overriding concept is to find the root cause and to help folks. And folks who struggle with obesity and diabetes do indeed have a GLP-1 deficiency. And so by replacing a little bit of that peptide, in my opinion, is much like replacing a hormone that they're already deficient in. And can we induce proper functioning of that peptide through lifestyle and natural solutions? We sure will try. And that's part of what I call a comprehensive treatment plan or a comprehensive program that encompasses all the things. And all the things I preach to you guys about: strength training, building muscle, getting adequate sleep, mitigating stress as best we can, avoiding inflammatory foods like seed oils and ultra refined carbohydrates. All of that still matters. And in fact, the peptide is just but one tool in a toolbox. And my argument from the beginning has been that I think remarkable things can happen when all the things are addressed. We're able to just use peptides in small amounts. But unfortunately, the allopathic system is cranking them at super high doses, and they're using them solo as like the only intervention. And astute obesity doctors will obviously bring in other pharmaceuticals. But I can see where, in my opinion, that ship is steering the wrong direction. And what's frustrating is that folks won't listen to my prior episodes or my take on this, and they just want to attack me. That's been really interesting the past week. Callie Means came out and was on the Tucker Carlson show, and I adore both of those guys. And I think Tucker might actually be on Ozempic, to tell you the truth, by the looks of him. But I absolutely adore Callie and his crusade against the metabolic disaster that is this country. We are in a mess, and I've been saying it for decades. And in fact, I've been saying it a whole lot longer than most of these people have. A lot of these folks just came to this awakening in the past, 5, 10, 15 years. I've been flying this flag for decades, you guys. Like, I get it. But I also understand that we have such a broken problem, which I'm about to get into, that we might need some help and some interventions. It's not this, how do I phrase this? Cleaning up the food supply at this point with the level of toxicity that is in our world and in our cells, and how many generations deep we are. Callie made a point on Tucker where he said, we're one generation in. That is incorrect. We're 4 generations into this. And the epigenetic and genetic changes that have happened have created such a disastrous mess that it's not going to be as simple as changing people's diets. And it's not going to be as simple as getting people to exercise more. Yes, those things need to be addressed. And that is something I have been gunning against for decades. And quite honestly, I'm tired. It's not popular to come out with these ideas decades before everyone else is and take heat for them. Like it wears on me. So I absolutely believe that is the solution, but that's a pipe dream. And I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime, to be totally honest with you. Big Food has their talons in deep. They basically hired this, and I've known this for decades too. There's a book called Prescribing by Numbers. I've shared this with you guys on other episodes. Go read it. They talk about how the pharmaceutical industry invaded medicine. And then there's another book. I can't think of the name. I will put it in the show notes. It's salt, sugar, fat, something like that. And he talks about how in the 90s, the same PR firm that Big Tobacco used was hired by Big Food, and they knew exactly what they were doing to everybody in the early 90s, and they knew they were creating an obesity problem, and they decided just to roll with it. So I've been fully aware of this for a really long time, and just like I've been fully aware of glyphosate issues, et cetera, for a really long time. And these are not quick steering ships. So in the meantime, what can we do to help people? That's really the question I posed to you today. What can we do in the meantime to help people? And that's where I'm coming from when I am talking about using all the tools that we have available to help people thrive and succeed in their goals. I am not anti-pharmaceutical drug when used appropriately, and I'm a big fan of compounding pharmacies. I am against, obviously, the way that Big Pharma is handling things, but there's been a multitude of times when pharmaceutical drugs saved my life, and there are people in my life that I love dearly that wouldn't be here without pharmaceutical drugs. And some of them have gotten to such a busted place before they even got a diagnosis or knew what to do that they are on drugs for life. And thank God, right? Thank God. So for you purists out there, go ahead and jump ship now, because I have said it before and I'll say it again. The way I was taught to do medicine, because I am a prescribing doctor in the state of Oregon, was to use pharmaceutical drugs at the lowest doses necessary, along with lifestyle medicine, lifestyle changes, diet, exercise, nutraceuticals such as supplements, herbs, etc., homeopathy, whatever tools we have in the tool belt to offset the need for the higher doses of pharmaceuticals. So my goal is always to bring people down to the lowest dose necessary and or to get them off if I can. But if they need a little bit of something, then so be it. I was always happy to prescribe it, so long as they were keeping up their end of the deal of taking really good care of themselves, right? This is a full-time job. We live in such a toxic, messed up world that this is a full-time job. And I get that not everybody has that kind of time, you guys. I take full responsibility for the privilege I have. Now, I've created the life I have. I used to have the, 7:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night type of job, but I have created a life where I have all the time in the world that I need to change my schedule around. I can work out whenever I want. I can essentially do whatever I want, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur and I've created that lifestyle for myself. So I get that that's something that not everybody has. My husband works a normal 9-to-5 job, and he doesn't come home at night and feel like going out in the gym to get a workout in, but he does it because he knows he needs to. But that takes away from our time. And by the time he's done and takes a shower, it's time to go to bed. So if you have kids and you have a full-time job and you have people in your life that rely on you, I get that you can't do all the things that these influencers, and myself included, are telling you to do. It takes a lot of time to sauna and lift weights and get all the things in, right? The red light, the et cetera. These are time-consuming tasks. And I'm in reality, and I know that people need help. Heck, I'm in Hawaii, and I'm in a pretty affluent area. Resort area I'm in is quite expensive. And I've been here multiple times over the years. And I will say that I haven't been here in about 10 years. What an absolute mess humans' health is in. I went to the same luau I went to actually 11 years ago last night, and I just couldn't believe how, and these are, $200 a seat tickets, and I just couldn't believe the poor health of everybody. People are in trouble, and I am trying to help. And that's why I'm working on it right now. It's one of the reasons I came here on vacation, was to get some time to create. I'm working on a really awesome comprehensive program to help everybody. And it's going to be applicable for clinicians and healthcare professionals to learn more about how to do things. And I'm going to go deep into my thoughts and theories around microdosing and how I've been doing it. And I'm going to talk about all the things. And there's going to be, workout programs and meal plans and a really comprehensive understanding of all of the different systems in your body that are playing into having these GLP-1 agonists work optimally, and how we can cycle them and dose them and utilize them for the long run. Because what we don't want is what's going to happen to so many Americans that are cranking the dose right now. That is not sustainable. Eventually their bodies will override that and it will no longer work for them. And that's a terrible place to be, because here's what I'm about to tell you. Sustained weight loss is virtually impossible. And if you look at the statistics, it's pretty bleak. Maybe 20% of folks will have, if people lose weight, right? We talked about low calorie or reduced calorie weight loss efforts in past episodes, and how that can lead to muscle loss, and it can lead to, all kinds of troubles if someone isn't strength training and prioritizing protein. And whether they're using a GLP-1 agonist to reduce their appetite, and those peptides do a lot of other things. So go back and listen to those episodes. Or they're just, duking it out with their willpower, and they're keeping those calories low, and they're restricting, and they're losing weight, whether it be through exercise and or low calorie, or exercise alone or low calorie alone. Only about 20% of those folks maintain even some degree of weight loss within a year. And 5 years out, it's a bleak, roughly 5% that have maintained that weight loss. So telling people to lose weight by eating less and exercising more, I'll say this: nearly anybody on the internet can help you lose weight. Losing weight is not the hard part. I know it feels hard, but it's really not the hardest part. The absolutely difficult mountain to climb is keeping the weight off. We call them the reduced obese. These are folks who started out obese, lost weight. That is the bane of every obesity doctor's existence, is keeping these folks with the weight off. That requires a lot of effort on everybody's part. And it's very, very difficult. It's very, very frustrating. And many obesity doctors will tell you that it's a very frustrating line of specialty for them, because keeping the weight off is so hard.